The first reading today, St. Paul talks about the fact that in Corinth there was a kind of immorality that was going on that was not even known among pagans, and that the people seemed tragically to tolerate it. And the immorality he talks about is a man living with his father's wife. Obviously, this isn't his mother, but assuming the mother had died and the father had remarried, now this younger man is living with his father's wife. Obviously, there is a matter of adultery there, but it's more than that. There are spiritual effects that come when two men lie with the same woman or two women lie with the same man. We tend not to even know about that. We tend not to even think about that. It's very clear in Scripture, and St. Paul understood that well. And that's exactly what he is condemning. It's certainly the adultery that's being condemned, but more than that, recognizing the spiritual ramifications that come from this. And then he goes on to talk about how a little yeast leavens all the dough. Now, the problem, even with that St. Paul talks about, is the pride that is there in these people. So in other words, not only are they not dealing with the fact that somebody is doing something so despicable, but they're so caught up in themselves with their boasting and their bragging and all their pride, they don't notice anything else. They don't care about all the sin around them. Well, welcome to America. The arrogance is through the roof. Sin is rampant, and most people in America don't care. A lot of people even rejoice in it. They think that this is great. It is not. It is destructive. It is not only destructive of the individuals who are involved in the sin, but as St. Paul says, a little yeast leavens all the dough. All of us are going to be affected by this. And we are. There is not a single one of us who can say that we have not been affected by what's going on in society. And by that, I don't simply mean the fact that there are people who are sinning and somehow that affects us. No. I'm talking about the fact that our society has gone so far astray, and a lot of people don't even notice. This is one of, well, I guess it's Karl Marx's thing. Saul Alinsky fell right in line with it. And the idea, and you can see what's going on, just look at what has happened in America over the last few months. What Marx said is to happen is that you push. And you push until there's enough pushback. But you've already now moved the line of acceptability. And as soon as there's enough pushback, then stop. You don't pull it back, you stop it there. And then you wait for a little bit, and then you start pushing again. And then when there's enough pushback, then you stop again. You wait for a while, and then you start pushing it again. Each time it's moving the line further and further and further away. So what are we hearing in America now? Well, this is the new normal. Really? There's nothing normal about it. It is not normal for human beings to be 6 feet apart from one another. It's not normal for human beings to be covering their face when they try and talk to somebody. It is not normal for us to be locking ourselves in the house for months at a time. It is not normal for us to be acting the way that we are because of what's going on. But you see what they're doing? They're conditioning things. A little leaven goes a long way. We've gotten used to it. It's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. Think back 6 months ago and ask if you were told 6 months ago to do what we're doing today, what would you have thought? But they just did it incrementally. Let's just lock everything down for a while, get people used to that. Then we'll scare the heck out of them. Then we'll tell them that they have to wear masks. And then we'll tell them they have to be 6 feet apart. Then we'll tell them that then. And little by little, the old frog in the water starts boiling away and just continues to sit there. Here we are. And then we look at what happened with Jesus. These people are looking for anything that they can find against him. So he calls the man up with withered hand, doesn't touch him, doesn't do anything, simply speaks the word. And what is the response? They became enraged and discussed together what they might do to Jesus. What's going on in America? Anyone who wants to say something different from the narrative is being shut down. The truth enrages these people. They're a bunch of liars. They are people who do not have your good in mind at all. And when somebody wants your good, which is the truth, they get enraged. They shut it down. They do not want for you what is good. They know that what they're doing is bad. They're doing it on purpose. It's kind of hard to be able to find out if you're the only weirdo who thinks that this is going on and stupid, if you're 6 feet apart from somebody and their face is covered because you can't even talk to them to find out if anybody agrees with you or not. It's to isolate. That's what they're trying to do. It's to divide, it's to isolate, and we're just going along with it. Oh, this is the new normal. No problem. No, this is not even human. It is a problem. But a little dough, a little yeast goes a long way. So again, we need to see what's going on. We need to recognize that especially for those who are old enough to be able to look back over 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, this is not normal. And let's not play their game and call it the new normal, because it will never be normal. It is not human. We need to be clear. They're not going to like it. Your neighbor might not like it. Too bad. The truth enrages people who don't want it. Jesus is the truth. Look at what their response was to him. Not going to be any different to us if we're going to speak the truth. If we're going to live the truth. But we have to be clear and we have to embrace the truth. If we want the norm, and that is indeed what we were created for, he is right in front of you. He's the one who created us. He's the one who made us in his own image and likeness. He is the norm. We have made Jesus an extreme. We have tried to make Jesus abnormal. We have tried to make Jesus so far out on the fringe that he's not acceptable. We have taken what is basic to humanity, like the 10 Commandments, and we have ushered them right out of our society. And so God, who is the norm, who has laid out for us what is the norm for human living, he is no longer the norm for us. Instead, we look around and say, welcome to the new normal. It has nothing to do with God and it has nothing to do with humanity. Well, that doesn't leave a whole lot of option then, does it? Where do we think it's really coming from? It is evil. Let's be clear what it is. It is evil. Who is interested in causing division? Not God. Who is interested in violating your dignity as a human person? Not God. So the options are fairly limited as to where all this is coming from ultimately. It should be pretty blatant. Yes, they used to say it's as obvious as the nose on your face, but we can't see anybody's nose anymore because they're all covered up with masks. So I guess it's as obvious as the mask on your face. Let's at least make sure that we're thinking clearly and that we're not giving in to stupidity. If they're going to require that we do certain things and we have no option, we may have to do certain things, but they are not normal. And let's not conform ourselves to the nonsense, because that is what it is. It is nonsense. It makes no sense. So we reject it. And we conform ourselves to what is normal, or to who is normal. Thanks be to God, he came into this world and took our human nature and lived a human life. That is the norm. We are to look at Jesus Christ and we are to compare ourselves with him. We are to conform ourselves to him. We are to be able to use him as the point of normalcy. So let's reject the lies, because the lies are from Satan. We have to embrace the truth because Jesus himself is the truth. And yes, they will be enraged, and yes, they will discuss together, hopefully from 6 feet apart with their masks on, but isn't it funny that they don't have to do that? Just you do. But anyway, that's beside the point. But they will discuss among themselves what they might do. Let them. Because we are not created for this nonsense. We are created for God. We are created to live the fullness of our humanity. That's what God is calling us to. So there is no such thing as a new normal. What is normal has always been and always will be. And in case we had a question, just look at who is right in front of you, front and center. There is the norm for human life, for human living. And if there is something that goes contrary to Jesus Christ, it is a lie. It is not normal, and it never will be.